Hello, I'm Carolyn Dennis, Associate Pastor for Children and Family Ministry here at 2nd Presbyterian Church.
And I'm Brian Shivers, Senior Associate Pastor for Spiritual Life. The fact that you are watching this video means that you have made the meaningful decision to nurture the faith of children and youth by actively participating in our ministries with these growing disciples of Jesus Christ, or you will be engaged in ministry with vulnerable adults. As a Sunday school teacher, shepherd, mentor, youth advisor, counselor, or special friend, you'll be a part of a team of respected adults called to warmly welcome, eagerly engage, and wisely guide our children, youth, and vulnerable adults.
With your words and your actions, you will share with our young people what it means to be a child of God. God whom we know to be both good and great. A God who indeed came to us as a child, told us to welcome children, set children in our midst as examples of the coming kingdom, and warned us to take care of them as he would.
Little children were being brought to him in order that he might lay his hands on them and pray. The disciples spoke sternly to them, but Jesus said, "Let the little children come to me, and do not stop them, for it is to such as these that the kingdom of heaven belongs." Matthew 19, 13 through 14. In a church, we not only welcome children, we expect that they will be safe, that through our interactions with them and with one another, they will come to know a God who cares for them, a God whom they can trust, by whom they are blessed and empowered to grow in faith, wisdom, and stature.
Unfortunately, we know that sometimes children have not experienced safety in churches. That knowledge, as well as statistics that tell us that 20,000 children in Indiana experienced abuse last year, that 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 7 boys will be abused sexually before they turn 18, is the reason that we take our protection policy, volunteer background checks, and volunteer training very seriously.
By the time you have completed this 30-minute web-based training, you will be familiar with the policies and procedures of 2nd Presbyterian Church designed to protect children, youth, and vulnerable adults. You will know whom to notify should a policy be violated or you suspect child abuse. You will be equipped to keep children safe and to seek the help you need should an incident occur.
Our protection policy, training, and safety procedures help us to ensure that we do not stick our heads in the sand and say, "That couldn't happen here." Statistics and the news say that indeed it can happen, especially in churches where we want to trust, welcome, and forgive all people. Our protection policy, training, and safety procedures help us to say, we won't let people be harmed here. People being hurt in the church has long-lasting and harmful effects for families, the church community, and ultimately for lives of faith.
Staff and volunteers of 2nd Presbyterian Church work hard to make sure that the building and the activities we engage in are safe for all participants. Before working with children, youth, or vulnerable adults, a volunteer completes an application which is reviewed and approved by staff, provides 3 character references, has had an approved background check, is an employee or member of the church, or has been an active participant in the church for 6 months or more, receives an orientation to their responsibilities from supervisory staff, completes the child protection training.
While working with children, youth, or vulnerable adults, all staff and volunteers follow the 2 caregiver rule, ensuring that groups or individual children, youth, or vulnerable adults are supervised by 2 caregivers at all times. This policy protects both vulnerable populations and the adults working with them. Exceptions are made to this rule if the care or counseling is clearly visible to other adults. For those employed as a minister, licensed therapist, or program coordinator, when a parent has signed a waiver for an individual child, youth, or vulnerable adult to be cared for by one adult.
As a part of the church's ministry, people interact regularly with children, youth, and vulnerable adults. These volunteers, who are not caregivers, are not subject to this policy and are themselves, as they are volunteering, being supervised by 2 caregivers who have met the above requirements. Youth often volunteer with younger youth, children, or vulnerable adults. Similarly, these youth are not considered caregivers unless they are over 18. Those youth who regularly volunteer with children complete and file with the church an application which includes the name, address, date of birth, and phone number of the applicant, 3 character references, including contact information for each, agreement by the applicant to comply with this policy, complete child protection training provided by the church. In our programs with children, caregiver name tags or t-shirts distinguish caregivers from other adult and youth volunteers.